Hello everyone. In this video we will discuss about a very popular and niche technology in the IT industry, that is cloud computing, and try to get an understanding on what is cloud computing, its usage, various types of cloud services offered and their benefits etc. in detail. So before we begin, welcome to our channel The Guidance Pro. Before we dig deeper into the detail, for a better understanding of the cloud computing use case, let us look at the ongoing conversation between owner of an e-commerce business and a smart employee Sanvi. Here the boss is planning to host an online website for his e-commerce business. So he is checking the feasibility of the same with his employee Sanvi. Though the Sanvi responds, to host a website we need to buy a highly efficient servers and other resources. Also need to hire experts to maintain the servers and network traffic. After hearing back this response from Sanvi, boss quickly responds to it and began saying this plan is very expensive and time consuming process. And check if there exists any other alternative and cost effective plan. To which Sanvi responds, well, cloud computing will be a best one-stop solution. What is cloud computing? Now let us understand what is cloud computing and its benefits over on-premise environment. Cloud computing simply refers to renting an infrastructure as per our needs and pay for what we use. That is, rather than owning your own costly computer infrastructure or data center setups in your office, companies can rent access to anything from applications to storage from a cloud service provider like Amazon Web Services, Microsoft Azure, Google Cloud, etc. through internet. How cloud computing works? It is an on-demand delivery of your IT resources over the internet and allows you to deploy your software application, store your data, and access your application from anywhere and anytime globally over the internet. And it allows you to pay for what you use. Evolution of cloud. Cloud computing is not a very recent invention and has got some history to look back. In the year 1960, John McCarthy was the first person who introduced the concept of sharing with his mainframe time sharing. Then, in the year 1970, the concept of virtualization took its wings and able to run one operating system inside another completely different operating system. Next, in the year 1997, the term cloud computing was the first originated and first defined by Professor Ramnath Chellappa of Emory University and University of South California. Whereas in the year 1999, Salesforce had successfully delivered an application via a simple website. And in the year 2006, Amazon has launched Elastic Cloud Computing EC2 and Simple Storage Service S3. And in the year 2013, cloud market is rapidly growing with worldwide public cloud services total to around 78 billion euros and increased by 18.5%. The trend continues and in the year 2020, 70% of the entire IT is already started using cloud and 18% of the IT industry are planning to move to the cloud. The evolution of the cloud computing had spread across every business and made a de facto standard to host all the applications on the cloud with ease of use. Now let us understand who uses cloud computing and to whom it is very beneficial. Organizations of every type, size and industry are using the cloud for a wide variety of use cases such as data backup, disaster recovery, email, virtual desktops, software development and testing, big data analytics, customer facing web applications and so on. Let us understand the various types of cloud computing that are offered by different cloud vendors. Cloud computing is categorized into deployment models and service models, whereas the cloud deployment models is further categorized into public cloud, private cloud, hybrid cloud, and community cloud. On the other hand, service models are divided into three. They are IaaS, PaaS, SaaS. Let us know these type in details. Now let us understand each deployment models in detail. Public cloud. Public cloud is a type of computing in which a service provider makes computing resources available to the public via the internet. It is owned and managed by service providers, and cloud services will be made available to all the general public and accessible by all via internet without any restriction. All the hardware, software and other IT resources will be managed by cloud vendor providers like Amazon Web Services, Azure, etc. Before we move further, please subscribe to our channel The Guidance Pro. Private cloud. The private cloud is defined as a computing services offered either over the internet or a private internal network and only to a selected users instead of the general public. Private cloud delivers a higher levels of security and privacy through both company firewall and internal hosting to ensure operating and sensitive data are not accessible to third parties. That is the reason this private cloud has a limited access only within the limits of an organization. The cloud infrastructure is operated solely for an organization on a private network, and it has a restricted access. Hybrid cloud. A hybrid cloud is a computing environment which combines a public cloud and a private cloud by allowing data and applications to be shared between them. Companies will pay only for resources they temporarily use, instead of having to purchase, program and maintain additional resources and equipment which could remain idle over long periods of time. Hybrid computing is a best of all possible worlds platform, delivering all the benefits of cloud computing like flexibility, scalability and cost efficient with the lowest possible risk of data exposure. Community cloud. Community cloud is a hybrid form of private cloud. They are multi-tenant platform that enable different organizations to work on a shared platform and having unrestricted access only to the community members. And the examples include universities cooperating in a certain area of research or police departments within a country or state sharing computer resources will fall under community cloud. Now let us understand the different service models offered by different cloud services providers. First we begin with IaaS, that refers to Infrastructure as a Service. This is the most basic category of cloud computing services, and as the name indicates, Infrastructure as a Service, that refers to we are renting an IT infrastructure like servers, virtual machines, storage, networks, operating systems from cloud provider as per our requirements, and we pay as we use, that we refer to pay as you go basis. The service model is PaaS, refers to platform as a service. This type of a service model provides a complete platform for developing, testing, delivering and managing software applications. Also, using these service models, software developers can quickly develop web or mobile applications without having to worry about the underlying infrastructure needed for development. The third type of service model is SaaS, that refers to software as a service. As the name indicates, this model provides end-to-end software services like delivering of software applications over the internet on demand and typically on a subscription basis. Cloud providers host and manage the software applications and underlying infrastructure and handle all the maintenance required for the application like software upgrades and security patching. Users connect to the application over the internet, usually with a web browser on their phone, tablet or PC. Now we know the different types of service models offered by different service providers. Now the question arises, which will be the best suitable service model for my requirements? For a better understanding of suitable service model selection, let us consider an example where you have just moved to a new place and in search of a place to live. So while in search of a place to live, we will left over with three options: build a new house, or buy an empty house, or live in a hotel. Considering three options that we have now, the first option would be buying a new house. In that case, you can have fully control of everything you like your new house to have, but that involves a hard work. Whereas the second option, that is buy an empty house. In this case, you can customize some part of your house, but cannot change the original architecture. Coming to the third option, which is living in a hotel. So living in a hotel will be a good idea if the only thing is enjoy your life. There is nothing you can do with the house except living in it. Now let's convert these three available options into service model selections criteria. In case if you choose to buy a new house, that indicates that you can rent some infrastructure and build up your own IT system among those resources which may be fully in control. Then you can opt for infrastructure as a service solution. Whereas if you choose to buy an empty house, that indicates you can directly develop your IT system through one cloud platform and do not care about any low-level resource management. In that case, you have to opt platform as a service. On the other hand, if you choose to live in a hotel, then you can directly use some existed IT system solutions which were provided by some cloud applications service providers without knowing any detailed technical about how these services was achieved. In this case, you have to opt for software as a service solution. Now let us understand the distinction between on-premise model and three different cloud service models offered by different service providers with respect to the computing resources maintenance. In case of on-premise, all the resources have to be managed by yourself. And on the other hand, SaaS model, which is software as a service model, will be completely managed by cloud service provider, having a slight differentiation of maintenance between the other two cloud service models, that is infrastructure as a service and platform as a service models. Now that we know the history of cloud computing, let us know the benefits of migrating from on-premise environment to cloud computing. Cost savings. By migrating to cloud from on-premise, there will be a huge cost savings as we no need to buy and maintain any costly infrastructure and no need to think of the space constraint that we have it in office. Next comes speed and security. Data is stored in a very secured and centralized locations or regions. So this makes it very secure and the cloud services are accessible to all the general public at any time and anywhere within high speeds. Elasticity and scalability. Cloud provides an EC2 instance called Elastic Cloud Computing, which grow or shrink as elastic based upon usage and highly scalable. Faster deployment and productivity. Ease of deployments reduces the latency and improves the overall productivity. Reliability and disaster recovery. This is one of the most used reliability and security feature. Reliability and disaster recovery. Cloud services providers provide backup and quick data recovery in times of emergency or any unforeseen situations like natural disasters or power outages. Here is a list of popular cloud service providers, which includes Amazon Web Services, Google Cloud Platform, Salesforce, Oracle Cloud, Microsoft Azure, Alibaba Cloud, etc. Thanks for watching and do subscribe to our channel to get an update of our next series of cloud computing part 2.